Word of mouth, the Boxing Playhouse, without a doubt. All the latest and greatest boxing news, that's what it's all about.
Guys, this is Sakura A, and I'm with Emilio Santana.
What's up, y'all?
Tonight we're doing it Columbian style, baby, and we are going all the way to Columbia to check out the Florida Boxing Hall of Famer Danny Santiago and his world champion WBC Continental Silver title holder Alexander Castro. We can't wait to bring him to the forefront here. Do you think you want him to have topics with us for a minute?
Hey, why not?
Okay, awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get Danny and Santiago in the house. What's up, guys?
What's up, my Boxing Playhouse people? What's going on, baby?
Yo, we chilling, Danny. Chilling.
I see Emilio. Always looking dapper, always looking sharp. I'm gonna go change.
Just grab your drink, man. That's all you need. Just grab your drink.
What's going on?
We got this exclusive liquor coming soon, man, so everybody can finally find out what's in this cup here. Everybody wants to know, so I can't wait.
If he tells you, he might have to kill you. So maybe you don't want to know.
Exactly. They might have to buy it and see why he's always so cool.
What's up, Taz? Carlos.
Yeah, we got one of your boxing companions for your fight coming up on November 5th. She's in the house. Carice Taz.
Yes, Carice Brown. Everybody's over here so motivated to see her. You know, it's going to be the first female boxing event, bout here in Columbia, where I'm at, in El Valle, and everyone is really looking forward to it. The publicity is going out. There's billboards. There's electric billboards. There are posters plastered all over town. And when you come to Columbia, it's like they step back in time a little bit, because they actually do look at flyers, and people still put up flyers, where it's not that digitalized. You know what I mean? But everybody, the town is talking about it, and to be 100% honest with you, they're more interested in the female bout.
Oh wow, that's amazing! So awesome. I'm glad that this is like gonna bring female boxing to Columbia. That's amazing. And Danny Santiago is the one that made it happen, along with TNK Boxing Promotions. So we definitely want to give you a hand clap for that, for supporting the ladies, man. Now, yes, Danny, do you mind saying all of that in Spanish for our Latin audience? The details of the fight?
Yes, ma'am. Boxing Playhouse está representando a TK Promotions, a Boxeo y Más, y la pelea que vamos a hacer aquí en noviembre 6, que va a pelear Carice Brown de Estados Unidos, de Florida, y va a ser la primera pelea de mujeres aquí en el Valle, que va a ser una cosa. Yo estoy muy orgulloso para presentar esa velada. Vamos a tener 12 peleas y van a tener 4 boxeadores de Estados Unidos que van a representar a Estados Unidos contra los colombianos, argentinos y gente de hasta México. Va a ser una pelea muy buena. Back at you, baby.
Well, we definitely appreciate that translation. That's the translation from the newly speaking Spanish honcho. We got Danny. Well, how in the world did you just learn Spanish, like in such a short time period? And you sound so fluid too.
Well, you either. I'm Spanish. I have Spanish in me as well, right? But the reality is, I didn't grow up. I was a typical New Yorker, New Yorican, whatever you want to call it. I have a little bit of this, a little bit of that in my family, but I didn't grow up really speaking Spanish. When I moved to Colombia, like anything else in life, you either sink or swim. So I had to learn the hard way. People can kind of take advantage of you when you don't speak their language and so on.
Right.
But I'm glad I learned it, because the two most dominant languages in the world are English and Spanish. So now I'm very fluent in both.
And you tell our audience that we thank them so much for participating in our show tonight and on the Latin boxing groups.
Bueno, la gente ya admirando este programa en Boxing Playhouse, les dimos muchas gracias por el apoyo, para mirarnos, para estar viendo nosotros, a ver la entrevista de Alex Castro, y vamos a seguir en el futuro con Boxing Playhouse aquí en Latin America, para que lo vean, porque vamos a estar muchas entrevistas aquí en todo el país, y no solamente en Colombia, en Argentina, en Ecuador, en Chile, en todos esos sitios. Dependiente, el futuro va a ser muy brillante para Boxing Playhouse.
Yes, please make sure you subscribe to Boxing Playhouse on our YouTube, Twitter, IG, and of course, Facebook pages. Danny, thanks so much for translating that for us.
Para que sepa, lo puede ver la Boxing Playhouse en YouTube, en Facebook, Instagram, en todas las emisoras de redes sociales y cosas así. Dependiente, porque el futuro van a enseñar muchos latinos en boxeo, en Boxing Playhouse. No te lo falles.
Go ahead.
Danny, I want to know how long did you know Castro and how did you guys meet?
Well, when I moved here to Colombia with my wife, who's Colombian American, I walked into a local PAL, what they call a PAL, it's called an IMDE, right? And I saw these kids there, and it absolutely blew my mind, because for a time there, I was thinking of walking away from the sport. I was just being in the sport from 1989 to 2016. It took all of my life, right? And I just didn't see things certain places where kids had the same desire that I had at one time. So when I walked into this gym and I saw kids like Alex Castro and a couple other my guys, Luis Tenorio and some of the guys, these guys, the most disgusting thing, just really quick, I seen these kids spar, remove the mouthpiece from their mouth, rinse it off, and put it in somebody else's mouth. And I'm like, first of all, disgusting, you know. But second of all, I see them go out there with holes in their shoes and things like that, and no excuses, and just go to war. And I'm like, wow, this is the true essence of fighting. You know, true essence of boxing. When I got into boxing, that's what I felt, and that's what my heart was at. So when I met Castro, I tell everyone he's my unicorn, because he's got power, speed, desire. If you knew the humble beginnings where this gentleman came from, he has only one place to go, and that's up. And with the help of great individuals who are behind him, Cali Boxing Promotions out of California, and some other people who are looking into doing things with him. He won the WBC Silver Middleweight title with only 8 fights. I turned him pro in a 6-round fight because he's just that good. And I tell everybody he's my unicorn because he has it all. And all he needs right now is he just keep fighting and keep opening his own doors, so it'll make our job easier to negotiate for him. But our meeting was, I would say it was very unique, because he was actually a part of Selection Colombia, where he wanted to go train at training camps with the Colombian boxing team. And he happened to be in the gym the day that I was there by chance. And he came up to me, he's like, look, man, you know, I'm really struggling. You know, this amateur boxing thing is great, but you know, I'm one of 10 kids. My mother's a single mother. My father died, and I help pay the bills, and I'm not paying the bills anymore. It's just not working for me. I want to turn pro. So what we did was we spoke to the local coach that was there, and I told him, I said, listen, the guy approached me. He says, yeah, please take him under your wing, and that's how we started. And if you don't mind, I'll say it in Spanish for you if you like.
Excellent. Actually, I was gonna try to ask it in Spanish. ¿Cómo conociste Castro y cómo han estado juntos?
Okay, that's very good. You're getting there. You're better than I sounded when I first started. Bueno, ¿cómo yo conocí a Castro? Yo, cuando me mudé a Colombia, abrí el gimnasio Boxeo y Más. Y en un día, él entró en mi gimnasio. Estaba parte de Selección Colombia y en ese tiempo la cosa estaba muy bien para él, pero él no vio un futuro en el sentido de quedarse amateur. So, él vivía con que estaba con el INDE y le hablaron y le dijeron, yo quiero ser profesional porque quiero ser campeón y ayudar a mi familia a progresar. Y un día comprar una casa por mi mamá porque él es el único hombre en la casa. Como digo, él tiene su hermano y todo, pero él es el que cuida a la familia, él cuida a su hermano y su mamá y quiere hacer algo por su futuro, hacer el sueño de ser campeón. So, yo hablé con el profesor del INDE y cuadramos que él iba a empezar a entrenar conmigo. Empezamos la carrera, él se debutó en 6 rondas y ya con 8 peleas, a las 9 peleas, ganó el campeonato que tiene ahí en el hombro del WBC, campeón mediano de plata. Y estamos aquí, 9-6, 7 knockouts. And that's Castro's story. If you have any questions for Castro, I'll be happy to translate for you.
Yes.
I want to know who's one of the fighters that Castro enjoyed watching growing up. You know, one of his favorite fighters growing up, Danny.
Castro, te están preguntando, cuando tú estabas empezando a boxear, ¿quién es el boxeador que te gustaba, que tú dices, uff, ese boxeador me gustaría ser como él, o que tú vas a mirar como boxeador? Habla.
Yo miraba mucho los videos de Muhammad Ali, decía, no, yo algún día quiero ser como él, ganar todas las peleas, ganar muchos títulos, así, eso me inspiraba mucho.
So Muhammad Ali?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he says when he was growing up, his idol and the person he admired the most was Muhammad Ali and his struggles and things of that nature. And he said, man, someday I'd like to do that. And I'd like to be as great as he one day or close to him. So that's who he admired when he was, when he got involved in boxing, which is a great idol, right?
Right. I want to know, man, Colombia is known for a lot of tough fighters, man, with a lot of power. Where that power come from, man? When I think of Colombia, I think of a lot of fighters that bring that power. What's the root to that?
Que Colombia siempre está pendiente de los boxeadores de Colombia, ¿no? Sí. Y él dice que los peleadores, los boxeadores acá, que tienen pegada, que tienen hambre, que tienen pegada. ¿De dónde viene eso?
Eso viene de el sufrimiento que uno ha tenido acá, entonces cuando le da la oportunidad, no le importa que lo maten aquí, no va para adelante a ganar.
He says that, the Colombian heritage, they're a strong heritage, but at the end of the day, the suffering, the poverty, the daily trials and tribulation that they have, they're just willing to fight for everything on a daily basis, and they're willing to die for their dreams. Some people say they want to do that, but the culture here really does do that. It's kind of like a part of their DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And Castro, what is his record right now, Danny?
Castro's record is 9-0.
Wow.
With 7 KOs.
Man, that's a good start right there.
Yeah, he hasn't been putting soft, to tell the truth. He's I'll tell you a little story. His last fight when he fought June 5th for the WBC title, he had gotten COVID, like I would say about a month or so before we were supposed to go to the fights. We were supposed to go to fights, and they were going to cancel the fight. And just to give you an example, to answer that question you just asked, they spoke to him and said, "Look, man, we're going to cancel this fight." He said, "Look, you cancel this fight, I'll kill you." And he was dead serious, And he performed. He did really well. He won a unanimous decision. I personally believe that he would have knocked the guy out if certain COVID, remedy extremities weren't involved in the situation. But he fought a spectacular fight. He won easily, convincingly, and it was a great performance. Hablando de la pelea que cuando tú peleaste en México, que te dio COVID un poco antes, y tú dices, no, si tú me quitas esta pelea, yo te mato. ¿Cierto?
Así fue.
So I was just saying, I was repeating what I just said to you for the Spanish-speaking people there.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, well, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back with WBC Continental Silver Champion Alexander Castro and Florida Boxing Hall of Famer. Yay! Florida Boxing Hall of Famer Danny Santiago.
Yeah. This is how we do it right here. Check it. Yeah. There's gonna be plenty of things you're gonna see. I know. Trust me when I tell you. It's coming. It's coming. Welcome to the house. The one they talking about. Word of mouth. The Boxing Playhouse. Without a doubt. All the latest and greatest boxing news, that's what it's all about. Listen, welcome to the house, the one they talking about. Word of mouth, the Boxing Playhouse, without a doubt.
Wow, and we're back. And you know what? That at the end of the commercial and promos, that was the amazing Taz, the Golden Child Brown, who's gonna be on Danny's card coming up next Saturday, and it's called Boxeo de. Oh, I got it wrong. What is it, Danny? What's the name of the card? I'm sorry.
Noche de Boxeo.
Noche de Boxeo.
For the translation, a night of boxing.
Oh, that's the night of boxing. Okay.
Actually, it's a night of boxing and more, because we're gonna have a lot more things going on. There's going to be some mixed martial arts professional, the first time ever in El Valle, which is like saying the South, the first time ever a mixed martial arts professional bout in El Valle has never been done, and I'm very proud to bring that here. We were the first ones to put on a professional boxing show here in the last 30 years, and this is going to be our third show.
Hey, Danny, Castro, do we have a nickname that he got?
In Spanish, it's not going to it's going to translate. He's called El Gran Castro, Alexander the Great.
The Great.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's called Alexander El Gran Castro.
I have a question. I have a question for Castro. Is ¿Cómo ha cambiado tu vida desde que conociste a Danny?
¿Cómo te cambia la vida conmigo? ¿Cómo yo te cambia la vida?
No, pues la vida me cambió por completo. O sea, Danny, como un padre, me da mucho consejo, me enseñó a conocer el boxeo profesional, me llevó a conocer la parte del mundo. Estoy muy agradecido con él, contento con todo lo que he logrado gracias a él.
Well, he says that it's funny because he's talking about me, right? So he says that us being each other, we obviously change each other's lives, right? Because not many people know this, but I don't have any children, right? I chose to not procreate because of my career. And I got married late in life. Well, I love my wife very much, right? But in saying that, when he met him, he was missing a dad. His dad died when he was just in the second grade. He had to drop out of school, and he had to, fend for himself and his family. So when I entered his life, not only did I change him in the boxing aspect of things, I got him his visa. We got him his visa with his management team. We've taken him to America. We've taken him to Mexico. We take him to California and Miami and all these things, and he's a champ, and he's on his way on the path to his dreams, right? And he attributes that to our meetings, and I don't think anything happens by chance. There's always a greater power involved in this, and he's very grateful, and he sees me like a dad,
Oh, that's so sweet. That's amazing too.
These are my boys. These are my boys. Oh, I love all my boys.
Hey, that's what's up.
Yeah, very blessed indeed to find each other under dumb circumstances. And a lot of times the trainers do become like family, and a lot of them even become that father figure that a child doesn't have. So that's pretty amazing that you're willing to give of yourself like that, Danny, and personally take somebody, you know, close in to your personal space.
I'll tell you something funny, and he's going to get a kick out of this. One day he's talking to me, my wife, you know, and I was actually thinking about adopting a child with my wife. My wife wanted to have a kid. I'm like, look, I'm going to be 49. You're your age, and I won't say because, you know, women like to talk about that stuff. And she has her own daughter, you know. Stuff. And,
Okay, looks like Danny. Oh, okay. Repeat that part.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Part
I was telling my wife about adopting a child, right? And we, you know, Castro is a part of my daily life. I make sure that he eats. I make sure that I take him to the dentist, and I do all these things for my boys. You know, these are my kids. Mm-hmm. And he says, Danny, you know, he's 23 years old. He's like, why don't you adopt me? I'm like, listen, I love you and everything, but I'm not adopting a grown man. Like, you know, that's not just not gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? But he was like dead serious, you know. I mean, I love him, you know, but I mean, let's be honest, you know. So I said, don't worry about it. You're my boy. You're my son. We're gonna make it to the top, and as long as me as a coach, if we would like all our fighters to become world champions, and we all believe our guy's gonna be world champions. I call him my unicorn, you know, el unicornio, you know. If I can get him to buy a home for his mother, I will have achieved my goal. Because to see where he came from and where he's at now, where I believe he's going to go, that's all that matters to me. And if I can achieve that, then my goal has been completed. The rest is up to him.
Danny, when you said adopt him, you made me think about when Customado had brung Mike Tyson in, man, when you said that.
It's a similar situation. It's a real similar situation. Hearing Mike's story, they're very similar. They're very, very similar, you know. And in many ways, you know, the greatest fighters in the history of time have come from those grassroots, from those humble beginnings, you know.
Next year, 2022, Danny, how many fights do you think we're gonna see Castro in next year?
Well, we're planning on having him fight in California in January.
Okay.
Not many people know this, but we worked really hard on trying to make everything legal and correct with him. You know, we don't want him to be a typical boxer where me in case, myself in case, lose money and mismanage money and things like that. So we have officially made Castro a dual citizen. So as of January 1st or somewhere around January, he will be Colombian and American. Living here, obviously, but we want him to fight in America legitimately. We want him to pay his taxes. We want him to do the things accordingly the way things should be done. So that way, later on in life, he doesn't have an IRS situation, and he's a good citizen. You know, he'll pay his taxes there and here, whatever the case may be. So he's looking to fight in January in California, probably in Little Sanchez area, because that's where his management team is at. And hopefully, we'll get about 2 to 3 fights next year, probably 3 to 4 fights next year. We've been keeping him on a steady tip. We turned him pro a year and a half ago, and he's had 9 fights. If it wasn't for the pandemic, he would have a lot more. But that's a pretty fast pace for him, you know? That's a fast pace for anyone. But when you have the talent and you have the skills that he has, I mean, you know, you do what you have to do. If you don't mind me saying that, I'll say that in Spanish for you.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Él me preguntó lo que nosotros como el equipo de Castro, ¿qué tenemos planeado para el año nuevo? Primero que nada, Castro ya el año que viene va a ser colombiano-americano, porque va a tener papeles como un americano. En el dicho eso es que queremos hacer todo correcto, en el sentido que va a pagar los impuestos de Estados Unidos, va a hacer todo legal para que si las cosas se hacen bien, salen bien. So, quizás de aquí a enero, Castro va a pelear en California a defender quizás su título y a seguir la carrera de él. Si no fuera para la pandemia, él tuviera más peleas y la cosa se avanza más fácil, más rápido. Pero la cosa pasa en el tiempo de Dios. En enero, Castro va a pelear en Estados Unidos, en California.
Kete Pérez, Florida.
¿Cómo te parece a Florida?
Y elegante, no mucho. Quiero regresar allá.
He says, oh, it's an elegant, beautiful, lovely place. He cannot wait to return.
All right, yes. And we're hoping that we'll get to see him fight next year, early next year, here in the Sunshine State. Tell him that, please.
Ellos están rezando y esperando que después de haber peleado en Florida, si Dios quiere, el año que viene. ¿Te gustaría?
Sí, claro, para allá vamos.
He says, yes, ma'am. He's ready to go over there as soon as possible.
Hey, Danny, I'm looking into the future, man. I'm looking to the future right now. Do you think in the future that Castro could be one of the best Colombian fighters to ever come out of that country?
You want to know something? I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe that. I'll be totally honest with you. I have a great life in America. I'm an American. I love being an American, you know. But when I came here, I seen something that I hadn't seen in a long time, and I had to move here. I had to relocate here. It wasn't the climate. It wasn't. There was a lot of challenges for me. I mean, the language barrier for me was very difficult because I got taken advantage a little bit, you know. So what kept me here was them, and I don't like to put that weight on my shoulders, but I was telling them the only reason I'm still here is because of them, because I started with something, and I'm going to finish it with them. I'm not going to stop until I finish it with them. Castro has the ability, if he stays humble and focused, you know, and he's a really good kid, to be not only a great Colombian fighter, but a great fighter in general. He has all the tools. That's why I say, for me to label somebody him like the unicorn, it's not a compliment or label that I bestow on him too easily. Because the reality of it comes with a lot. You know, I hold them up to a higher standard. There's a lot of kids in my gym, and you'll see them in the future. I have another 126 pounder that's an absolute beast. I mean, he's like in the Matrix. You know, when he throws his punches and he's really fast and really hard, he spars with Alex. I'm hablando de Louis. And he's like in the Matrix, and Alex has to put it on him sometimes. Like, this guy's trying to take advantage of me, you know what I mean? And so that's like the only reason I came here. And I said, you know, I told my wife, I had opportunities to move back to New York or Canada. I had offered a job in Canada. And I came here and I earned little to nothing, but the reward is so much more than financial for me, because to see the effect that I have on these kids' lives, Alex will, in no doubt in my mind, become the world champion.
That's another question I wanted to ask, Danny. Do you feel like Alex is going to stay at junior middleweight, or do you see him moving up a weight or two class in the future?
I'm going to ask him in Spanish, and then I'm going to say it in Spanish, and then I'm going to say it in English, okay? Alex, pensando, tú crees, en la edad tuya, que tú vas a subir de peso? You know, the funny thing is that when I was training as a kid, I was a heavy kid. I've been this weight, 215, 20 pounds since I was 15 years old. I just like stood a midget. I was just stood short, right? But Alex, in 6'1" or so, he rides a bike, true story. He rides a bike about 6.5, 7 miles to the gym one way, 4 times a day. So to and from, right? It's almost impossible for him to gain weight. And probably and he says he don't think he'll move up a weight class. One never knows, because as things start adjusting in time and his finances start to change, and he's not riding a bike anymore, not riding a mountain bike, but he's riding a motorcycle, or he's driving a car. His metabolism will change, and who knows where his weight may fluctuate. Because right now, no matter how hard he tries, he doesn't gain weight. I mean, we go to the fights, and some guys are usually, eating broccoli or chewing on a lime or whatever, or grapefruit or something. This kid is eating, chicken breast and a nice big salad with a small side of rice and drinking juice because he never has a weight problem because we run, we swim, we train twice a day, and he rides a bike. No lie, average of 20 miles a day.
That's a lot of miles.
Yeah, tremendous.
I mean, it's just, and the thing about it is that he rides his bike to the gym with a smile on his face, and is literally 6 miles away from his house is 6 miles away from my gym. I measured in my car, a little bit over.
Hey, Danny, when he won that WBC Continental, I want to know what went through Castro's mind when they handed him that belt.
I'm gonna tell you this. Cuando tú ganaste ese cinturón, ¿cómo te sentiste en ese momento?
Una alegría impresionante, me sentí dentro como que hubiera sido campeón mundial una vez.
Dile qué pasó.
Y me salió la lágrima, me sentí y emocionado.
When he won it, he was so overtaken with feelings of like he finally, he's getting it. He finally made it. He knew he wasn't the world champion, but he was the champ, and he was on his path to become a world champion. But he said it that tears came to his eyes. To be totally honest with you, we both at that very moment we started crying when they put the belt around his waist. We both started tearing up. It was such an emotional moment because leading up to it, the COVID I told you about, and the struggles that he's endured in his life, I won't even begin to tell you. Let me ask him a question, okay?
Okay.
¿Te molesta decirle a ellos como tu viviente? Bueno, he had his situation. What's he really thinking? His situation is very, very dramatic. Very, very dramatic. His humble beginnings, if he doesn't want me to say it, so I'm not going to say it. But the poverty level or the and the standards of the way he lived before we met and how things have changed, it's something that people write movies about. People write stories about, and someday in the near future, maybe you guys will tell you and feel comfortable to tell you. He doesn't like it because he's very prideful. I remember he used to not let me go see him where he lived at. I used to drop him up 2 or 3 blocks away because he didn't like me to see where he lived at. And one day I got him to let me show me where he lived at. When I saw that, I knew how to get him out of there. And it was a real struggle to get him out of there because he got so used to that form of way of living that it was almost where he was afraid to step into something else because he didn't know if he was capable of withstanding the responsibilities of the bills and things of that nature. Because he got so accustomed to living like that, sometimes people get afraid and they don't want to step forward out of fear.
Yes.
He tells me all the times that he wouldn't know what he would do without me if I wasn't here because his life has changed so dramatically. He doesn't even know how to go back to that place. He doesn't even like to drive by that place on his bike because it's just a memory he wants to forget, But I told him, don't let it ever forget it. Mm-hmm. Let it keep you strong so that way you could keep moving forward in fear of going backwards.
Right. I was going to say the same thing. My advice was, never forget where you come from. And that way he can do the same thing that you're doing for him to somebody else in that same situation. Pay it forward.
Ella dice que yo no le dije, yo le expliqué más o menos. Yo le dije a ella dice, quizá el cambio que nosotros te hemos dado, yo le dije, tú me das un cambio a una amiga mía también, porque tú me motivas como ser un profesor. Yo estoy aquí por ustedes, por nadie más. Yo no estoy aquí por Arepa ni nada de eso, yo estoy aquí por ustedes. Pero que quizá un día tú, bajo la posición mía, ya ponerlo para adelante para otra persona. Eso sería bueno. ¿Crees que tú puedes hacer eso? ¿Puedes hacer eso?
No aprendiendo cosas suyas.
Yeah, he says, you know what? Hopefully he can learn some things and emulate things moving forward and pay it forward.
Yes. It only makes you grow bigger. It only makes you more blessed when you are able to help someone else.
Ella dice, cuando tú llegas a ese nivel y tú puedes hacer esa música en el futuro, esto te hace la grandeza tuya mejor. Te hace más grande que tú nunca podías esperar hacer. Lo más grande que tú puedes hacer en algo así. He says, God willing.
God willing. Amen.
Danny, I know Castro's a young man. Has he started his own family yet?
No, we're not going to talk about that.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Empezar tu familia. No. ¿Verdad? No, bebé, no. No.
Because, you know, another prospect talked to us about how certain women or some girls didn't want to talk to them when they were, you know, before they got signed to like a major company, you know, and now that they seen him in a better position, them same girls want to try to talk to him. Ask him if he goes through that.
Y yo dice, cuando tú empezaste y estaba un pelado por aquí haciendo lo tuyo, una sigla tuya, tuviste a las mujeres llamándote y todas esas cosas, o los ven llamándote ahora porque ya había un cambio, ya está vistiendo diferente, ahora campeón.
Ahora me llaman.
Dice, yeah.
Me ven y me llaman, cada rato me escriben al WhatsApp.
So he says, yeah, before he didn't get that much attention, right? But, you know, ever since his whole attire changed a little bit, he got a little bit of a swag, he got a little strap on his shoulder. Yeah, you know, they hit him up on social media. They're very aggressive, you know, and you know, oh yeah, listen, you know, but it comes with the territory. That's what I like about him, because he's very mature and he doesn't let it go to his head.
Yeah, the guy told us, the boxer told us that that's like a dead giveaway. He tell them wrong number. Like when they try to text him back, he says, "Oh, this isn't his number anymore."
Dice, hay boxeadores que saben eso, que saben que las peleas están detrás de él buscando la vuelta. Él le da un número falso para que no lo llamen. Sí, porque no quiere que le molesten a él. Esa es la cosa. ¿Tú lo decías, no?
Yes, lo voy a hacer.
He said he might start doing that too. He might get false numbers.
I said, good idea.
Danny, what's Castro's signature punch?
I'll let him answer that. ¿Cuál es el golpe que es más conocido, el favorito tuyo que left hook to the body?
Oh, okay.
I love a good body snatcher.
Do he
I'm
come
gonna tell you
back
something real quick.
like Mike?
So it's a good uppercut, but his left hook to the body,
that's it, huh?
is ridiculous. Listen, I'm gonna say it in Spanish. El golpe favorito tuyo es el gancho para el cuerpo, ¿no? Al hígado, el favorito. I'll tell you something funny. So I like to think that I'm still in shape, which I'm not, right? Once in a while I try to get in with the kids and mess around with them some days, you know. One day we had a guy who was supposed to come in and spar with Castro, but he didn't show up. So, you know, I hadn't worked out for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, but I'm like, I'll get in and move with him because he had a fight coming up, you know? And I told myself I would never spar with my boys because I want to keep that respect. But at the same time, he needed to work. So I said, listen, man, just let your hands go. He didn't want to hit me. He was trying to work with me. I was trying to put pressure on him. And then he touched me to the body. And I was like, I got to look at this thing from the outside from now on. I can't be doing this no more.
The power, huh, Danny?
Asthma attack, you know. But Castro went, boop. I said, no. Me voy, I'm getting out of here, you know.
You're like, I changed my mind on that one.
Yeah,
now we do have a question from the beautiful Dahlia Duran, who's doing our translations on the comments, and she's also willing to answer any or give us questions of anyone that has a question in Spanish. So the Spanish person says, Alexander, do you have any inspiration from Kid Pambele?
Ellos dicen, una persona escribió a ellos y preguntando, ¿tiene cualquier inspiración de Kim Pambele o algo así? ¿O tú lo conoces? ¿No lo conoces tanto?
No he visto tantas personas porque es muy viejo.
he says that he's not really versed in what King Pambele has done in his career. He's ashamed to say that he hasn't really studied him too much. He knows of him. Yeah, he's seen a couple of videos, but not very many.
Yeah.
But he's aware of him, but he hasn't really been influenced by him. No.
I wonder if any documentaries on him. Maybe
they actually have it. I was looking at one the other day.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll put him onto it.
Okay.
Danny, what era was he in, Pamela?
I think he was like in the 60s, and I think he was like in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. 70s, 80s, around there. I have to look that up. I'm ashamed to say that I know a lot of Colombian fighters. I'm very well of King Pambele because his son, Antonio Cervantes Jr., is fighting on our show here November 6th as well.
Okay, awesome. Speaking of which, now you do have ask him te gusta Roberto Duran.
¿Te gusta Roberto Duran?
Sí. Fuerte, me gusta como pelea.
Yeah.
You asked the right question because he really does. He loves Roberto Duran. He says he's really strong, he hits really hard, and he's a beast.
Wow.
Yes, very much so. That's what I like about him and his fighting and how he just went up, to super middleweight and still won a title. Yeah,
we have a picture of him in the gym, and I tell him a story when I was a kid in Miami. When I first went down to Miami, like 18, 19 years old, to go train over there, I saw Roberto Duran in this gym in Alapata in Miami, and he was working out, and I just walked into the gym. I'm like, wow, that's Roberto Duran, and he goes into the corner. I know he was messing with me, because he knows we were like in awe, and he goes into the corner after sparring, and the guy gives him some water and he spits it out, and I didn't really understand Spanish all that great, but I know he didn't like the water. So he told the guy, give me the green bottle. And the green bottle was a bottle of Heineken. And he poured it. The guy put a bottle of Heineken in his mouth. Later on, they told me it was water. He was just playing a trick, But I'm like, damn.
Heineken,
Gotcha.
It was just so crazy.
Yeah. And tell him, Dalia talks about that Duran could eat a lot of food, just like he can.
Le dice, la hija de él, que se llama Dalia, que tú la conociste, ella en esa fama, ¿no? ¿Tú la conociste, la hija de Roberto Duran?
Sí.
Ajá. Ella dice, el papá de ella come como un animal, este es un apetito bien grande. ¿Y tú comes mucho o qué?
Yo también, Dani come más.
He said, he eats a lot, but I eat more than him.
Palomino steak.
Yeah, Palomino steak, 5 pounds, one setting during training in Cali.
Que come bistec como palomilla de bistec palomilla. Sí. Eso come como 5 libras de bistec.
Come mucho.
No, eso es mucho.
And train the next day, no problem. All of it's gone.
Y va a entrenar como si nada el próximo día. Eso es mucho.
Animal.
He's like, yeah, that's an animal.
Yes. Oh my God, that's funny.
Hey, Danny, I was wondering, Edison Miranda, is he in the same area where y'all at or from?
Edison Miranda, I know him very well. He used to be in Miami with us, and I think we moved around a time or two. Very good guy. He's actually in Canada, he's not from. I think he's in Canada right now. He might have come back here, but we live in a valley, which is it's kind of strange. Where we live at, we're surrounded by mountains, like a bowl. And we live in the center of mountains. It's called a valley. Edison Miranda and most Colombian boxing from the history, from the beginning of time, most boxers from Colombia come from the coastal areas, which is by the beach areas. We live about an hour and a half away from the beach. So there's a lot of beautiful rivers and things like that because we live in the mountains and you see rivers and everything, waterfalls and stuff. But a lot of boxing in Colombia is known on the coastal areas. We're trying to change that. We're trying to change it where we have one of the fighters that's from the valley who became a world champion was Momo Ramirez. His name is Momo Ramirez. And he was an IBF champion not so long ago. Unfortunately, he defended it and lost it his first title defense. But he was the first known world champion from El Valle, from this area. And hopefully Castro will be the second.
Okay.
I like the I can't wait to visit the area. We were hoping we could get there for the first fight you're having in November. Tell us what's the other date so we can be Boxing Playhouse ready next time.
Well, we have November 6th, obviously. We have December 11th. We haven't settled the date on January because we're kind of iffy on it. People are trying to get me to do one. But it's funny. Colombia, they are very strict, very devoted Catholics. So
Okay.
Christmas is, yes, it's about giving gifts and things, but not for here, not for them here. It's really about Christ. It's really about the Catholic religion, and they really honor that. They shut down the city, they shut down the stores, and they have a tradition of things that they do. So putting on a show in January, right after that, it's not really smart. Some people are trying to get me to do it, but right now we have these November 6th, December 11th, and February 5th. Those are our next scheduled dates.
So they like their holiday.
Oh, they like holiday. They celebrate everything. They celebrate, Leprechaun Day. They celebrate everything. They take a day off every other day. Aquí hay muchos días de fiesta, ¿no? Como, he'll be like, oh, are you opening the gym tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, why? He's like, tomorrow's a holiday. I'm like, what holiday is it? He's like, I don't know, but it's a holiday. Nobody's opening up. It's
Well, ask him what's his favorite holiday.
¿Cuál es el festivo favorito tuyo?
¿Festivo?
O
lo mismo, todos los festivos.
¿Pero cuál? Las Navidades, cumpleaños, el día 25 de diciembre.
Las Navidades.
He says, really, to pick one, he doesn't know, but Christmas would be his favorite.
Merry Christmas. Christmas is one of my favorites, but I gotta go with Valentine's Day. Love is in the air. Isn't that right, baby?
Right, baby.
It's a good day for me.
Hey, he's wearing red.
I'm already ready, Danny.
Yes, sir.
Tell him Valentine's is a good day for me.
¿Y te gustan los días de las enamoradas o qué?
Yo casi no.
¿Tú no tienes novia?
Sí, pero a veces me gusta.
I said, you like Valentine's Day? He goes, yeah. He goes, not really. I said, don't you have a girl? He goes, yeah, but I don't really like Valentine's Day.
Yeah, of course.
He doesn't like
What
it.
about you? What's your favorite holiday?
Well, when I was in the States, my favorite holiday was Thanksgiving. And the only reason for that is not anything particular except for family. That's the one day a year, except for here. The one day a year over there in America where I sat down with my family, my entire family, and we had a dinner together. It could be, that could have been Valentine's Day, but it just so happens to be Thanksgiving. So that's the day that my family gets together, we share a meal, and we're thankful for whatever we have at that particular time. There's different meanings where people look at Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving doesn't mean to me anything about turkey or mashed potatoes. It's just the actual union of my family together, like a family reunion every year at Thanksgiving. That's my favorite holiday. That's the only reason why I like it.
Yeah, Thanksgiving is pretty good, but this one here don't like no jive turkey. Can you believe it?
It's all right. I mean, you can have some chicken or ham or whatever,
I like ham.
Ham. The pork meister. It's all about the pork for him and the Palomino steak. That's his favorite.
Look, I've been fighting all my life, and I said this once before to you guys. There's a fat kid inside of me trying to get out, and I lost the battle because I just gave in. I threw in the towel. I'm in love with food. I make passionate love every time I sit down to a meal. I eat that thing and I devour it like, oh my God, you don't even know. So bring me turkey, chicken, pork, whatever it is. I'm trying it down.
You eat everything, huh?
What? I'm tell you something. You put some seasoning and some adobo on a rack, I might eat that too. I mean, I just love food.
Ask Castro what's his favorite food.
¿Cuál es tu comida favorita?
El espagueti.
He loves spaghetti meatballs.
Oh my God, that's him.
That's what I love.
Yeah, oh.
Yeah, same thing.
La comida favorita de Alex es spaghetti. What's that?
Once, twice, 3 times a week sometimes. Spaghetti. You have. Don't act like
he said it too. He said it's really good. He would do it too.
Danny, I know Castro, he spent a lot of time training. I want to know what he do, when he's not training or boxing, what he does for hobbies.
Afuera de boxeo, ¿qué son las cositas que le gusta hacer? Afuera de deporte o boxeo, ¿cuál es la cosa que tú puedes hacer? Cuando no estás haciendo boxeo, ¿qué tú estás haciendo? ¿Qué te gustaría hacer? ¿O tu cosa favorita hacer?
Estoy afuera del boxeo, me divierto con mis amigos, jugamos fútbol, salimos a pasear, a escuchar. Me gusta mucho jugar fútbol también.
Well, for here in Colombia, football is soccer, right? So he says when he's not boxing and he's not doing things with us or whatever, he likes to hang out with his friends from time to time and just be normal, play some soccer, one of his favorite sports to play. And when he's not doing that, he likes to clown around with his friends and crack jokes and just hang out with them.
Wow. Okay, that's cool.
That's awesome. Soccer is hard for me to watch the whole game. So how does he feel about watching American soccer, football?
I feel the same way. Ella como yo, no puede sentar a ver fútbol. No,
a ver si me gusta.
Pero, ¿cómo te sientes del fútbol americano? ¿Lo has visto?
Sí.
¿Te gusta?
Eso casi no me gusta.
¿Y por qué?
No manera muy duro.
So I said, listen, man, I feel the same way that she does. I don't understand how you run around for an hour trying to hit a ball in the little net. It's just not my thing, right? So, I said, but you like soccer. They call it football. Do you like American football? What do you think about American football? He goes, man, I don't like it too much.
Yeah.
They be trying to kill each other, like pile on each other. I'm not into that,
Yo veo eso en la televisión y lo cambio.
He says he watches on TV. He's like, that's not for me. He changes the channel real quick.
Wow.
No football. No
I
football.
feel that way about some MMA. I'm like, I like the stand up that they do, but that floor game, that grappling, I don't like that. Like, no.
Ella dice que ella se siente así como igual como para artes marciales mixtas, ¿sí? Porque se pasa encuestado en el piso, aguantándose. Sí. Y a ella no le gusta. ¿Cómo tú? ¿Te gusta la arte marcial mixta? ¿Qué tú crees de eso?
He said, no, me neither.
I told him what you just said, and he says, he feels the same way. He doesn't really like it. It's just not his cup of tea.
Yeah.
He says it looks like they just lay on the floor, hug each other. It's like it's like a weird thing. He doesn't understand it.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't want to see two guys hugged up and on the floor. I don't like it.
Hey, Danny, a lot of young fighters, they dream of fighting in big places like Madison Square Garden or Caesar's Palace, the MGM Grand. I was wondering, do we have those visions of one day being in the major places like New York or Vegas?
Castro, el sueño tuyo, todos los boxeadores en el mundo tiene un sitio, tiene un sueño especial ahí, que dice, yo quiero llegar a ese sitio a pelear ahí. ¿Cuál es? Puede ser Madison Square Garden en Nueva York, Las Vegas,
yo quiero quedar campeón mundial y defender mi título de La Vega.
He wants to become the world champion, either fight or hopefully defend his world title in Las Vegas.
Y conocer el narrador, ¿cómo que se llama?
Vegas, yes.
De La Vega.
El que dice, let's get
sí, ese, quiero conocerlo.
He says that his dream is to fight in Las Vegas and have Michael Buffer said, let's get ready, That's his
That's what's up. Yes. I like that right there.
Yeah, that's a great dream. I love that.
He said he wants to hear Michael Buffer say his name. You know, let's get ready to get, you know, whatever he says and stuff. And he's really looking forward to that. That's his dream.
Gotta hurry up, get to that title before he retires.
Dice que te va a ganar, vamos a pelear por ese título pronto porque ese hombre se va a pensionar, pues se va a retirar. Sí, pronto. Qué risa. He says, we gotta hurry up.
Yeah, and now I notice he only has to do the main event. Like he doesn't even have to do the rest of the card anymore. So
yeah,
even if you're on one of the cards for the main event, you still probably won't get him to announce. I'm like, wow.
Ella dice que ya en ese nivel donde está él solamente hace la pelea estelar, que no hace todo lo otro. El otro que lo menciona otro, él solamente hace la pelea estelar.
Va a ser mi pelea estelar porque hoy yo ya soy el mejor del mundo.
He said, no matter what, he's going to do his fight. He's going to make sure that he's number one in the world and make it happen.
Right, okay.
That's what I like to hear.
Danny, just talking to you, Castro, man, I love the story, man, of how y'all met, you know, coming together, where y'all going, man. It's a beautiful story, man, and it just inspired me, man. I can't wait to just follow, you know, y'all's journey, you know, to a world title.
We really appreciate this, and if I could tell you, if it can give you an inkling of where I found him, and it's almost like, you know, I used to train in Catskills. I was under I didn't get to meet, you know, Custom Model because obviously he passed away before my time, but my coach used to be Kevin Rooney and this guy named Kelvin Prather, Muta Prather, right? I know Mike's story very well. One of the reasons I started boxing when I was a kid because I was so infatuated with the idea and the style and the aura of Mike Tyson, right? But Castro is cut from that cloth. And to give you an example in closing, I don't know if you guys are going to close this, but the first time I had Castro in my house, I brought him over to have some food, you know, to have a meal with me, right? And I asked him, I said, look, I was going to give him some what I had leftovers or whatever, but I didn't have anything. My wife threw it away. So I made him a sandwich. And I said, listen, I'm going to put some ham and I'm going to put some turkey and cheese and some white bread, right? I said, would you like some mayonnaise? The kid is 22 years old. And he says, sure. I don't know what mayonnaise tastes like, but sure. I'm like, you don't know what mayonnaise tastes like? He says, I've never had mayonnaise. Because it's not a necessity that they purchase. They purchase what they can afford and what they can eat, which is rice, eggs, and sugarcane. They make sugarcane water, which they call lemonade here, right? So that's what he ate. They make flour, this thing called arepa. They make flour. They eat rice, eggs, and arepa. And that's what they eat. That's why they have like no body fat, right? But the very first time this young man at the age of 22, somewhere around there, had mayonnaise, which maybe I'm corrupting him, right? He was at my house. And that blew me away because some of the things I've taken for granted, and I thought I had a hard life, right? At certain points in my life. For someone to never try mayonnaise, wow, the magnitude of a level of poverty that we're talking about here is unfathomable. It's just incredible, you know? So every day is a new experience for me with him because I do things that I've done before, and when I went to Florida and I took him to a few places, the first time he ever driven a car was my car. I mean, he almost killed me, but the first time I let him drive the car. He's like, you don't let me drive the car? I'm like, yeah, you know, you're 24 years old. Yeah, here's the keys, you know? But there's a lot of firsts with him, you know, where the first time he's been on a plane, the first time he had mayonnaise on a sandwich. I gave him I don't drink any soda or anything anymore, or I don't drink any tea or anything like that. But I had some instant tea that I had left over for about a year or so, and it was still good. So I made him some raspberry Lipton tea. He never had it before. He's like, man, that's really good, you know. And I'm like, am I corrupting this kid or what? But at the same time, it just shows you the what we should be grateful for, what he had, and what he has and what he's striving to get, because he has more to fight for than the average person.
Yes, for real. That's like an inspiring story. I mean, I could go down the list of things that we probably like, because when we drive up anywhere and we need a sandwich, we're always like, no mayo.
Yeah.
We love like, I don't even want it, you know.
Please take it off. Yeah.
Right, and not even thinking like this is something that somebody else would love to have, you know, on their sandwich, and we get mad when they put it on there, you know. That's Americans, you know.
Are you guys movie buffs?
Yeah, I like movies.
I like movies.
You ever heard of this movie called Blind Side about this football player?
Oh yeah, with Sandra Bullock.
Michael Orr. It was a story about Michael Orr.
Okay, yeah.
You ever seen that story? You ever seen that movie?
The big. I didn't see the movie.
Well, there's a part of the movie where Michael Orr is walking with Sandra Bullock, and he sees a person in a restaurant. This is actually happened with Castro. He sees this person in the restaurant, walks into this restaurant, talks to this gentleman, gives him a hug, and he comes out. And Sandra Bullock says, "Hey, Michael, who is that?" He says, "That's my brother." Like, "That's your brother?" He goes, "Yeah." He says, "When's the last time you seen him?" Like, "I don't know. I was a young kid." Now he's like 18, 19 years old, and he hasn't seen his brother since he was a young kid. But he saw him, and it was a shocking thing, right? So one day, I'm in Cali, Colombia, going to the airport with Castro to go to California, and we walk by this restaurant, and he sees his brother in there, who he hadn't seen in 17 years.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
First of all, he got a brother that's that much older than him, and second of all, like,
well, his mother started having kids at a very young age, and I'm not even gonna tell you the number because it's almost tearful. But he has about 10 brothers and sisters, and his oldest brother is about in his 40s, you know, and he hadn't seen his brother since he was a young child, and I was just blown away, and it just took me back to that movie. I'm like, man, you know what? There are true stories like this, and I'm walking with somebody who's actually walked his path, you know. Exactly. It was just a shocking thing, and every time I'm with him, it's a new experience with me, and he's always telling me I'm showing him different things, but that moment right there is like every time I go to his house or I make him a sandwich or we bumped into his brother, it just shows me how privileged I was in my life.
Right.
That's true. Like, did his brother recognize him because he hadn't seen him since he was a kid?
Yeah, he walked in. I mean, I didn't go in with him. I was obviously stood outside, but he went in there and talked to them, and I'm like, I was blown away. And then he walked away like nothing. You know, it was like, that was my brother. Let's go. You know, it was just something crazy. You know.
Yes, because we take it for granted we could get from Cali to what is it, an hour away from your hometown?
Yes.
I mean,
yes, ma'am. We're an hour away from Cali. Yes.
Yeah, so we take it for granted we could get in our car and drive an hour right now.
No, it's not like that here. Okay. He rides a bike. Remember that. You know what I mean? So it's not like you know, if he has $1 or $2 in his pocket, right? And he has a choice to buy something to eat or wait till he gets home and eat some rice. He's gonna wait till he gets home and eat some rice because he doesn't know where he's gonna replace that $2 or that $3. And I'm talking about it's that simple, you know. They just something a coach never does. My coach never did this with me. I took him to McDonald's for the first time in Cali, Colombia, because the nearest McDonald's is an hour and a half away or so, you know. And he's like, "You want to go eat McDonald's?" Like, I never had it. Let's go. It was like all these firsts with him because it's almost like he is my son, and I'm broadening his horizons to the world, and I'm exposing him to things that he hasn't been exposed.
Right.
For real. And I mean, just going to Mickey D's for the first time when we grew up, knowing what the Golden Arches was all about, you know, taking it for granted. And just the fact that, you know, you're doing these firsts with him, but he's also giving you a first because you didn't have kids. So, yeah, like, so this is your first instance seeing like the brightness of a child, basically a young adult now, you know, and the first that they experience. So it's kind of cool. It's like it's rotating in a circle as far as what y'all are giving to each other.
Full circle. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Well, we got another question. The beautiful Dahlia says, the question is for Alexander. Do you advise younger up-and-coming fighters on how they should get involved in boxing?
A una pregunta para usted. En las redes sociales. Te están preguntando que si, ahora que tú eres Alexander Castro, campeón, y estás haciendo cositas, que si tú a la juventud del boxeo estás dando consejos, cómo ser boxeador, qué no hacer, cómo hacer las cositas, ¿tú estás haciendo esas cosas también o si lo has hecho?
Claro, y el que me da los consejos es mi profesor Danny Santiago.
Pero si tú no estás dándolos a la juventud, hoy en día,
claro, los consejos que me dan a mí, cómo hacer las cosas en el boxeo, yo eso se lo doy a los otros muchachos, ya me tienen como un ejemplo a seguir, y yo ven lo que yo hago.
He says that, I think he misunderstood it at first, but he's like, yeah, of course I listen to the advice that Danny Santiago, my coach, tells me. But when he understood the question, what he was saying was that, yes, people have started, you know, some of the young kids at the local, it's called an India, but it's like a YMCA, right? So he goes there sometimes. When he won his belt, I told him to go over there and, you know, and participate with the guys and let him take pictures with the belts and stuff. And he tells him, he gives him advice. And now that he knows that he's a measuring stick of sorts or someone that people look up to, so he's got to set an example, and he tries to give them the best advice. Me as a coach, I make sure that he doesn't do the same mistakes that I made, and obviously becomes a better fighter than I ever was. So now he says that what he does do is pay it forward and make sure he tells these kids, hey, look, man, this is what's worked with me, for me, and these are the things that you should be doing.
Wow. So now he's the mentor.
Ahora tú eres como un mentor, como un ejemplo.
Sí, los muchachos me hablan en Facebook, no, yo quiero ser como usted, yo salí adelante, ser campeón. Yo les digo, no, estén fuertes y tengan solamente que usted quiere lo va a lograr.
He says, yeah, a lot of kids are reaching him out to him, see him, and they reach out to him on social media like Facebook. And they ask him, look, man, how can I be like you? How can I follow your footsteps? And he says, look, you know, these are the things you could do, and he knows that he's an example now, so he tries to be the best role model he can for these kids and give them the best advice.
All right. Well, we just thank you both for being with us, and I can't wait to see Castro perform live for us in the ring, and let us know why he got that belt, why he has that strap right now, because I'm ready to see that body punch.
Ella dice que están ansiosos para verte pelear allá en Estados Unidos y quiere ver por qué, cómo ganaste ese cinturón pues, con el golpecito en el cuerpo. Ellos están locos para ver eso.
Muy pronto.
He says, very soon, very soon.
Pronto estaré por allá.
He's going to be over there very soon.
Okay.
Well, we really wish you guys the best of luck, and we can't wait to see some of the footage is going to be happening for the November 5th fight card, Nacho de Boxeo. Did I get it right this time?
November 6th, Noche de Boxeo. Yes, ma'am.
November 6th. Tell us where we can find both of you guys on social media so everybody can, you know, sign up for your pages and support your fighters and Castro specifically, the champ.
Ella quiere saber los direcciones de redes sociales donde la gente puede ver a comunicarse contigo.
En Facebook, Alexander Castro. En Instagram, Alex Castro 2150.
On Facebook, Alexander Castro. On Instagram, Alex Castro 2150.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, guys, you already know where you can find us at. I mean, we got you covered here. We got
Boxing Playhouse, baby.
Hey, Boxeo and Cata de Greos.
Danny, we want to thank you and Castro so much for coming on, man. We really appreciate it.
We appreciate you guys. We appreciate the love. Castro, ¿quieres decir algo a ellos? Gracias, algo.
Sí, gracias por tenerme aquí y hacerme conocer a las personas que voy a seguir en mi sueño, voy a seguir luchando por tener mi objetivo, voy a ser campeón mundial con la ayuda de Dios y gracias por tenerme aquí.
He'd like to thank you guys for having him on your show, for showing him some love, letting people get to know who Alex Castro is, so that way when they see him, they'll remember they saw him on Boxing Playhouse first. And he will become champion. He will fulfill his destiny. He will fulfill his dreams. He's going to bring it right back here to Boxing Playhouse.
Mucho gracias.
Yes, ¿qué pasa?
Let me tell him in English. Thanks a lot. How to translate that for you?
That was saying, that's ¿qué pasa?
Wait. Look, English. Go ahead. See, he said, thank him again. Thank him again. In Spanish.
Mucho gracias.
You're welcome.
Oh,
English.
okay.
Oh, he said welcome. Oh, okay.
He said welcome.
He said welcome.
I'm trying to show him, you know, but he's too bashful. He's too shy.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. We got to
He
work
learns-
on that shyness.
He learns certain English words really easy, but you know, conversation he's afraid to say, if you know what I mean.
That's what Canelo started off a little slow and started learning more. Canelo.
Canelo ya sabe inglés.
Sí.
Sí, él empezó suavecito, pero ahora él sabe hablar.
Oh,
Tú tienes que ser como así.
claro, también.
Yes.
I told him that as well.
All
What was
right.
that?
So if you're in the Cali area and you can come to this fight like an hour away, what's the name of the town again, Daddy?
Luluwa, Colombia, the heart of El Valle.
All right. So if you're there, this coming up, well, next weekend, you can make sure you catch
No,
up with
November
him.
6th.
November 6th. That is next weekend.
No,
Next
it isn't.
weekend. Yes.
What's today's
Daddy's
date?
like, uh-oh.
Oh
Yeah,
my God,
but
yes.
next weekend. Not this weekend, next weekend, November the 5th.
Yeah.
November
Yes,
6th.
Yes, ma'am. November
Oh my
6th, yes,
goodness.
ma'am.
I keep messing up these dates. But Saturday night is gonna be some fireworks in Columbia, baby. And we got TNK Boxing's Taz Brown that's also gonna be on the card. The first ladies fight for that town ever. And Danny Santiago is making it happen, baby. Danny,
Thank you guys.
so much.
Thank
Yes,
you so
good luck.
much. God bless.
Bro,
Boxing
Danny.
Playhouse #1, baby.
Much love, y'all.
Peace.
All right.